Big Brother, mainstream media, government cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. He's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. And now, live from Austin, Texas, Alex Jones.
You know, the Saudi Arabian king is complaining that people are criticizing their government, their dictatorship, that chops people's heads off for free speech on the internet, and he wants it stopped, he wants it censored. And I thought, oh, you know, tough luck. You've got your little backwards third world hellhole nation that's trying to make the biggest building in the world with one of the biggest disparities of wealth between the elite and the general population, and all these kidnapped European and American and other women. We won't hear a word out of the controlled left because they're bought and paid for, so are the Republican leadership. And I thought, you know, you're going to be defeated. And I thought, not really. Saudi Arabia controls the takeover of Islam with radical Sunni Wahhabist garbage, and they are conquering Europe, and they're conquering America. And I really started thinking, man, the Saudis, you got to hand it to them. Fortune favors the bold. And it certainly is true, because I'm not even that smart, but I'm aggressive. I've got my facts together. Okay, I'm smart, but what I'm saying is I'm not the smartest guy around, but I've got basic good instincts and a historical lens, and I'm aggressive, and so I've been very effective fighting the globalists. And we've had a lot of big successes, thanks to you, the listeners and viewers and fellow patriots out there on the front lines. And I was just thinking about what would happen if other men decided it was manly to be politically involved and informed and aggressive and not chumps repeating what mainstream media says every day. We would be in a much freer country, a much freer world. And the jokes that are the Saudi Arabian leadership wearing their women's nightgowns and their little loincloths, their little beards, want to throw up, creeping around, everyone bowing down to them, and funding all these terrorists everywhere. They wouldn't be crapping all over us incessantly if we weren't such gibbering, knock-kneed cowards. To think about how we were manipulated in destroying Saudi Arabia's archenemy, Iraq, and blaming them for what Saudi Arabia was heavily involved in. It's so sick. And that's the MO of the New World Order. Bring in the radical jihadis, have them attack train stations, facilities, newspapers, theaters, kill hundreds and hundreds, kill a bunch of police, and then have the government stand up that brought them in and protected them, that arrest people that criticize them, and say, we're going to pass global government carbon taxes to prove to the radicals we're not scared. We're going to get all the power now because we did this to you. Aren't we great? It is the suspension of reality. And if people weren't in trances, this wouldn't be happening. You've got to be in a trance to sit here and to put up what's going on. And it just hit me so hard that the answer to defeating these people is being aggressive, is being forceful, is being decisive, and is just absolutely getting in their face and saying, you are degenerate, filthy criminal scourges. You are a absolute pall upon the world. You are a disease. The globalists, the collectivists, the George Soroses, the Bill Clintons, the Hillary Clintons, the David Rockefellers, the Henry Kissingers, the Prince Philips, the Prince Charleses are a bunch of over-the-top, disgusting, pathetic maggots. And we're supposed to just sit here and bow to them because they wear monkey suits, little royal outfits. All I want to say is go to hell where you came from. I hate your stinking, filthy guts enemy. What do we call the New World Order? We call them enemy. Enemy! You are the enemy. That's it. You're the enemy. You're the enemy of life. You're the enemy of honor. You're the enemy of prosperity. You're the enemy of everything good. And then you perch on top of us, the virtuous, the strong, the mighty, and convince us that you're our God. You aren't our gods. You're piles of horse manure. Daryl Salente, Trends Research Center, will be joining us in the second hour today and taking your phone calls.
You got it.
James Dillingpole, writer of the London Telegraph, will be breaking down the World Government Summit, the biggest gathering of world leaders in history. Pushing total control of every facet of energy, massive taxes on every facet of human life, selectively enforced by them. A dictatorship over human activity. Then David Knight will host the fourth hour of Overdrive today. I'm your host, Alex Jones. Well, this happens all the time, but today is really special. The news is completely over the top, and we're going to be going over pretty much all of it here today. We do have some very interesting big guests coming up in the next few days. I'm just going to leave it at that. You'll want to tune in tomorrow. One of the biggest guests we've ever had on will be on tomorrow. I like to have surprises, so just tune in tomorrow, folks. And we have some other big guests later in the week as well. But it is Tuesday, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining us. Already now, hard to believe, the first day of December 2015. So we've only got basically 30 and a half days left in 2015. It is extremely long in the tooth, and this year has a long white beard. Soon it will be a skeletal form and will fall to its knees, imploding into dust forever as the next orbit around the sun begins. Pretty magical place we live, isn't it? But we're taught to think the magic is Hollywood stars or Barack Obama on a red carpet, that's the secrets of the universe, that's the unattainium. Oh, if you could just be in the White House at dinner with Obama or just be in Hollywood and have dinner with Brad Pitt, it'd be so wonderful. It'd be like a fantasy land, a forbidden planet, a Valhalla Elysium. And the truth is, this is Elysium. We're on the planet. We have the technologies. We have the capability to go to the next level. And the globalists are trying to suppress that and stop that and steal the brain trust that is free humanity. The ultimate heist is taking place against our DNA, against our IQs, against our very seed, the power of procreation. The final war is now beginning between the technocrats, the servants of the eugenics agenda, and what's left of free humanity. The enemy's operation is so huge, so vicious, so evil, so stealthy, but also so overt that it boggles the mind as we are inserted into the beginnings of a false reality designed to make the act of resistance or free thought laughable, impossible. To quote Bertrand Russell, the population will soon be so conditioned, so drugged, so brainwashed that a rebellion by the proletariat would be as unthinkable as sheep rebelling against the practice of eating mutton. Mutton is sheep. A rebellion by the grassroots would be as unthinkable as sheep rebelling against being slaughtered. Sheep can't rebel. They're sheep. They submit. They fall. Will you fall? They think you will fall as they perch on our chest, smothering us, strangling us in the night. Or will we become aware of the attack and surge with the power that God gave us to resist? The enemy has sought to strangle us in our crib before we fully developed, knowing we will tower above these diseased, twisted souls. They believe that their day of doom is here for humanity. But I tell the New World Order and the Rockefellers and the Rothschilds and the Saxe-Coburg-Gothas and the Sods and all the rest of them, your day of doom is coming, and you know it. and your devil cult will fall forever. Your next fall is forever. You won't rise from the ashes this time. Let me go over some of the stacks we have here. We have the criminal activities going on in France with the total takeover of the world's energy system. We have Chuck Norris striking back against GMO corn and salmon just to counter what real environmental crises are. We have a whole new raft of people threatening to kill police and colleges shut down and hysteria. All Soros White House run as usual. Universities dominated by left-wing hate mobs, says Professor. It's now just become total tyranny, just screaming, we rule everything. Just the more socialists you grovel with them, the more they attack. It's just, they want total submission. Meanwhile, the public is more concerned with the new Leonardo DiCaprio movie by the maker of Birdman, which is a good film. Everyone's focusing on the bear raping Leonardo DiCaprio. It actually rapes him in a sex scene. I kind of looked into that. Bears aren't known to have ever raped anybody. Dolphins will try to rape you. They try to rape women. Male dolphins do. But there's no known cases of bears trying to rape people. But you see, this is how we're all distracted. The movie will probably make $1 billion because everyone, it's the big, Fox thinks it's its top release ever. Because a bear is raping someone. See, all this fantastical real stuff's going on. They're raping your genetics with GMO designed to change your DNA and mutate you in a bad way on record. They're raping your mind with hydrofluorosilicic acid fluoride on record, brain damaging you massively. They're raping you financially. They're raping your privacy. They're raping your Second Amendment. They're raping the borders. They're raping our taxpayers. They're raping our good name around the world, launching al-Qaeda operations with our funding. They're raping the entire planet's future with potential World War III nuclear exchanges on the horizon. They're raping the family. They're breaking everything up. But one man dies, it's a tragedy. 10,000 die, it's a statistic. One imaginary bear rapes a man. The whole planet being raped doesn't matter. Because don't worry, the people doing the main raping, flying around in their jets and with huge carbon footprints and eating the finest caviar, $1,000 a plate dinners is in the news, what they're having in Paris, taxpayer paid for, while they lecture us on less consumption as they distract from all the thousands of real environmental collapses and species die-offs and genetic mass mutation plagues and new microorganisms operating in the oceans causing huge die-offs. None of that mega epic collapse matters because Al Gore's having a little bit of $500 a spoon caviar that you're paying for right now because he's going to save you because he loves you and the earth. He's a savior. Look at him. Man, bear, pig. He has come as your savior. Do as he says and pay into his carbon trading company in London billions a day if the plan goes through, and he will deliver you with your carbon indulgence out of purgatory and into the new age heaven of world government and Sunni ghettos and open sewage and women sexually mutilated with hoods on their heads. Meanwhile, the Saudi king's complaining about the internet, talking bad about Saudi Arabia yesterday, and today he's complaining about people not being nice to the migrants when Saudi Arabia hasn't taken one of its financed Sunni invaders. And I have the articles when we come back from break. They admit that on average, out of thousands of migrants, there's not one Christian or one Shiite. It is a directed Sunni Wahhabist invasion to set up political bullying bases in every country to overthrow Christendom and the First Amendment. and to establish Sharia de facto law. I can't believe that a lot of these right-wing people that I heard this saying this 7, 8 years ago were right. It's all true. And it's actually happening, directed by the Pentagon and the Central Intelligence Agency. I mean, you talk about gutting our nations. And then when their little sweetie cakes blow stuff up, they're going to set up armored vehicles and checkpoints and secret interrogation centers, and they're going to drag Tea Party people off the street and nationalists off the street in Germany and France, and they're going to put you in prison. They're already doing it with a straight face. You don't criticize the invasion. You don't criticize your women being raped. You don't criticize your freedoms being destroyed, because the loving socialist government and the paramilitary police will follow their orders to drag you off into the night, because they love you and your family so much. They will help slit the throat of their own children, politically and spiritually. The great betrayal of the West, the great collapse of the West, and the response, the scorched destruction of the Middle East, is coming in the next phase as the Illuminati plays Christendom off against Islam, and on its ashes builds a one-world Luciferian government directly from the visions of the head of the Illuminati, Albert Pike. The Liberty Movement has never been more popular worldwide. People are ready to hear the truth. They're ready for a new renaissance. They're ready to be turned loose, to be free. And that's why the agents of chaos are trying to destabilize the entire planet. Huge developments with Russia and the Syria situation with Turkey. I mean, that is just over the top, out of control. Moment of truth as Puerto Rico faces critical debt payment collapse. That's Reuters. There is just so much to get to today. Senator Sessions says the omnibus bill in Congress gives Obama blank check on immigration in Syria to bring in millions. And you know, it's Senator Sessions that continues to blow these criminal operations wide open. A court ruled, 6+ months ago, that Obama can't open the borders and just bring in unlimited illegals from anywhere in the world, and he's still doing it. That's called dictatorship. And the Texas Attorney General that was suing him, well, he's been indicted. See how they operate? They're taking the gloves off people. And their operators are criminally committed. And a lot of Republican leadership is scared and is saying, I will salute you when you say jump. I'm going to ask how high. You think cowering to that's going to get us out of this? Rolling over to these wolves means we're going to get our guts torn out first. They're going to take their time eating us politically. You know that's what wolves do. I'll go back to the allegory of wolves like I did yesterday. With animals that don't fight back, if you fight back, wolves try to get into your throat and kill you quicker than eat you. But if you just sit there and beg and don't fight back, they start on your rear end and they tear your guts out the rear end and eat you that direction forward. And sheep and cows that are stuck in the mud sometimes take a day before they're dead. They leave the heart beating right there to keep it fresh while they eat the meat right on up. I'm not going to sit there and lay over and show my belly to the wolves. Because I'm not a sheep. I'm a sheepdog, and I'm going to get my teeth into their legs and their throat, and I'm going to crush them politically. Because I'm not a loser, and I'm not a slave of this scum, these parasitical, criminal maggots that hate you and your family, and hate my family. They are enemies. They are declared enemies of humanity. They are declared dark side parasites. Literal servants of the devil. You got me on that yet? This is a short segment, long segment. Let me just get calm and cover news. They're just such enemies. They hate us so much. They hate the local governments. They hate the local establishments. Prosperity is what freedom brings. Even corrupt people shouldn't want a total evil to come in. This will destroy everyone except the enemy at the top, and then they'll be screwed. But it's their nature. They can't help it. Do you understand that? They are of their father, and their lust are for death. All those that hate me love death, Christ said. Never truer words spoken. All those that hate me love death. I told people 19 years ago with George Woolley, the local Catholic anti-abortion crusader, that they were selling baby parts and keeping babies alive to harvest them. And we had insiders and all the rest of it. That was known then. And people say, you whacked out pro-lifers. That's not going on. Now that it's all admitted and caught on tape, it's like big deal. See how they operate? See what they do? Folks, the baby harvesting is nothing. The big banks run the child kidnapping. They run the snuff films. That's been in the Washington Post back in the 80s. Let me explain. They grab 3-year-olds out of their backyards and they torture them and then blow their heads off on video. That's who runs this government. Now, the average general's not involved. They're compartmentalized. The average senator's not involved. It's the shadow government operating under COG at the top. There's only a few thousand of these people, but let me tell you, they are what the archetypes of something like Count Dracula is. They're not real vampires that blow up in the sunlight. That's an allegory that light kills them. Truth kills them. We've got to drag them out in the sun at high noon and watch them burn. And they will, but you've got to shine the light on them. If you go to Infowars.com or PrisonPlanet.com, or if you go to our Facebook mentions, or you go to any of our sites that show metrics, our YouTube channels, there's many points, you will see that our videos now are getting 800,000 views, 1 million views. Individual videos every few days. Normally we put out, say, let's not exaggerate, 150, 200 videos a week. Maybe one of those gets 1 million views. Now we'll have 10, 15 that get 1 million views. And you have to understand, guys, go to the Facebook mentions, because that just shows videos that just went up in the last few hours. Go to our Facebook mentions on Alexander Jones. Click on the video tab. You can see one that has 800,000 views from a couple days ago. Again, I'm directing the TV show right now, / radio show in live time. And it does show as a metric that people are waking up, that people are getting involved, that people are aware that we are in a crisis as a civilization, and that is very good news. Mainstream media is not going to ever tell you that patriots have power or that there are people that want liberty and freedom and free market systems and rule of law from Latin America to Africa to Asia to Europe. They're there to make you feel like you're bad, you're evil, because you stand up for freedom. But I'm here to tell you, just Infowars.com. And what I do, as radical as it sounds, and as radical as I put things, because I'm not going to mince words, I'm going to tell you what I really think's going on. I'm going to jump up and down, because I'm here to tell you the ship's sinking. We've got to get out of this trance. We've got to have cold water thrown on us to wake up and get out of our collective beds, because the house is on fire. And it's effective. And that's why Donald Trump, whether you love him or hate him or in between, is so effective, because he doesn't apologize. He doesn't back off. The more controversies he's in, the more they spin things, the more they attack him, the more he becomes popular. Because people don't trust the dinosaur media. They don't trust the Decepticon media. They don't trust the enemy media anymore. And so you think about the fact that my broadcast is getting picked up by all these new stations every month. It's growing by leaps and bounds on every metric, on every format, in the face of almost all other media, even if it's been popular, even if it's been patriot, even if it's been libertarian, stagnating or getting smaller because there's so much more competition out there. So InfoWars is pretty much about as radical as it gets, and it's the fastest growing. But I'm not radical. A bunch of world leaders meeting, eating $1,000 a plate meals on red carpets and jumbo jets with surveillance blimps over Paris, surveilling everyone illegally, but letting the jihadis in, calling for world government and world taxes selectively to shut down certain nations and companies is outrageous. It's It's run down the street naked screaming. Now, if I ran down the street naked screaming, it would be somewhat discrediting. But I got to tell you, I think in the long run, it would be seen as probably the right thing to do, because that's how crazy stuff's gotten, and we've got to get people out of their comfort zones and realize stuff's out of control. And I'm not advocating running down the street naked. I mean that as a figurative archetype. Run down the street with my hair on fire, like Blackbeard. You know, he did that to get attention and scare people when he boarded their boats. He'd put a bunch of matches and candles in his beard, in his hair, and light himself on fire so they'd see a guy with his teeth bared, his eyes glaring, with a knife in his mouth, screaming with a bunch of other wild killers in a murder rage. They do that to get people's attention. You know what the skull and crossbones meant? A black flag means I don't surrender. A white flag means I surrender. A skull on it means we're going to kill you if you don't surrender. A skull with blood dripping out of it means we're going to kill you even if you do surrender. We're total psychos. Fight to the death. Well, I'm not saying run around with a skull and crossbones on a black flag to the New World Order. What I'm saying is they are flying that flag. They got a big bloody red skull on a black background. That's their real symbol inside Skull and Bones, with a crown on its head. A bloody red skull with a crown on its head. And that's what they worship. The pirate king, the pirate god, come to feed on you and your family. They were broken into about 100 years ago. That was confirmed. And it's been confirmed by people whose fathers and others were members of Skull and Bones. You go, Red Skull, I've heard of that, Marvel Comics. Everything you basically see in most fiction is a mirror of what's already going on as they throw it in your face. A big blood-dripping skull on a black background with a gold crown on its head. You want to know the type of folks we're fighting? Who has a flag of a bloody skull with fiery eyes and a crown? Robert De Niro made The Good Shepherd about it when they dress up like their god, the devil, in a black shroud with a skull mask and a gold crown. In fact, if people don't believe me, Skull and Bones Ritual, The Good Shepherd, I know it's online. We can actually show them bathing in feces, our Christian leaders, conservative leaders mainly, and worshiping the devil. And I only bring this up to you so that you can understand who these people are. And so that you can understand that this isn't a game. And, of course, who is in The Good Shepherd? Matt Damon. Alec Baldwin, you've been very helpful for me. Without further ado, let me stop ranting and get to the news here ahead of multiple guests that are going to be joining us today. First off, this is not a gimmick. It'd be okay if it was a gimmick because it funds the operation. We really gauge things. And if we do free shipping but don't sell a bunch of products, we lose money, actually. It's an actuary. You have to break down the numbers. You have to look at it. If we do too big of sales but they're not huge, then we don't make enough money to buy more product or fund the operation, and it's a failure. And I've had some sales over the years that were not really failures, but were duds. Didn't really get us in the black very much. But I've learned just the bigger the sales, the better the products, the more free shipping, the more we sell by a huge amount. And then I'm sitting here looking from, can I give people a Christmas bonus? Do I have to let somebody go? This is a month ago. This is an expensive operation to, oh my gosh, I'm going to hire a couple of reporters and get some more writers and give people Christmas bonuses. And, you know, I'm personally going to give some turkeys to, you know, the Salvation Army. That's where we've gotten with you with this Black Friday sale, buying so much product. It's been hugely successful. Now, the profits aren't as big per sale, obviously, because these sales are so huge. In fact, where's my battery charger thing? It was in here. I guess folks ran off with that. Can I have the product in here to show folks? We are selling out of basically everything. At this rate, the Power Pack will sell out by next week. And I'll tell you why. This is a third the size or less of a briefcase. It'll jump cars. It has jumper cables. It charges basically everything from USB to micro USB with a flashlight, everything else. I love these. My whole family loves these. I went and found the latest, newest, cutting-edge one. In 6 months, it'll be, there'll be something a little bit better. We'll be selling that. Don't worry. And I private labeled it so that we can sell it for $119. The leading competitor isn't as good, has a third less power, and is $150. This same unit, not private labeled by us, is over $160. That's with regular retailers. Amazon is like $140. We have it for $119. The exact same unit. Do you know how we were able to do it? Well, I bought thousands of them, and I private labeled it. None of the contracts. I can go even lower. No one is as aggressive as me. I mean, I'm just going to tell you point blank. Colloidal silver 2-ounce bottles, 30 parts per million from the leading manufacturer in the country, private labeled, $9.95 right now. So I'm extending through the 18th. That's the day we can guarantee you'll get it in the United States. If somebody doesn't steal your packages, man, there's an epidemic of that right now. I almost would tell folks, not really with us, but with people I know, and it's happening all over. But the issue is, you order by the 18th, and you will get free shipping and guaranteed delivery inside the 48. It's got to be the 17th of December to get it in Hawaii or Alaska before Christmas, on the 23rd, 24th. And this is so popular, I wish I would have ordered, 5,000 of them instead of 1,000 of them, because at this price, it will sell out by next week. The InfoWars Premium Power Pack Supercharger. And it's portable power bank for electronic devices, LED torch function for emergency lighting. It's super powerful. High-efficiency jump starter for emergency starting, and a whole bunch more. And it's got the jumper cables included. It is incredible. If your wife doesn't have this in her car, if you don't have this in your car, you are nuts. You are crazy. Just about a month ago, I left the lights on, not thinking, because I'd gone back out to the car, gotten something, gone back in, and I came out and the car wouldn't start. I didn't go to the garage and get the big charger, didn't go and plug it in, didn't pull the car up, got this unit out, the Proto unit, before we even had them in, hooked it up, and it took about 2 seconds longer than with a regular big jumper to start the car. Let the car run for 10 minutes, turned it back off, went back in, came back out, went to work. So this unit is available at InfoWarsStore.com, the InfoWars Premium Power Pack Supercharged. And it's the best we can get for the price right now, the best cutting edge, strongest, highest quality there is, according to our research. And I'll tell you, this stuff advances so fast, it's really amazing technology, how small it's getting. In 6 months, we'll have something new even better. But this currently is an absolute to have in your house, in your hunting shack, in your fishing shack, in your car, at work, whatever the case is. I'd buy 3 or 4 of these at this price. It makes a great Christmas gift. That's another way to fund the InfoWars. Shop with the Patriots. Buy the other high-quality nutraceuticals and the other specials we've got running. Get free shipping. Get a PrisonPlanet.tv membership. 20 people can use that. Give that as an e-gift. I mean, it's just a win-win. Then you fund our operation. And if tons of you come and buy the products, we can just lower prices and be even more competitive. Nothing succeeds like success. And the success of this InfoWar is forging a weapon to assault the globalist. You can get a free ebook, Keys to Survival, with a bunch of top experts like Joel Scalzi and others, a real ebook. I mean, it's thick. By signing up at Infowars.com/newsletter, we're going to send that back out today. Get Keys to Survival. We've got 25% off Super Male and Super Female Vitality. It has to end today. We're going to have now specials each day that have to end with stuff that's about to sell out, because it will sell out in just a few days at this current rate. Won't get more till next year. $9.95 Silver Bullet. That's going to probably go through the whole week. We may have enough. 30% off X2 Nation Iodine. You're going to have to end that in a couple days. 30% off Brain Force. Have to end that. 33% off DNA Force. That's going to end in a few days. It's about to sell out. 30% off Secret 12, Vitamin B12. 20% off InfoWars Select Storable Food. InfoWarsLife.com or 888-253-3139. And you're fighting the tip of the spear in the fight against the globalist. Free shipping now runs to the 18th. And then I'm not bringing it back for months, because we just can't afford it. When sales go way down, we can't afford to pay the $5-10 for the shipping. And sometimes it's more, depending on how big stuff you order. But we can do it right now because of the huge bulk purchasing. Our prices go down with UPS, FedEx, and USPS. It's all scalability. So again, thank you for your support. This will help put us in the black for months and months, hopefully, because we are self-funded. And support our local AM and FMs. It's just as important to support that local sponsor and let them know why, or to become a local sponsor, or to just send in $100 or $1,000 to your local station. Well, this is a war, folks. It takes money to win. We still have the grassroots numbers and the financing to defeat the globalists if patriots start spending money. And I mean, go get your own radio show. Go to a local station and say, I want to pay for an hour on your station. Get on there and talk about the New World Order. You're not going to save the world, but together we are. Get vocal, get active, get aggressive. Become a local sponsor. Spread the word. Buy an ad in the paper for the show and tell folks how they can tune in. Whatever. Or get your own show. Just fight. Fight. We're under attack, for heaven's sakes. I mean, it's ridiculous how obvious it is. We can mobilize, we can defeat, but we've got to have a heart beating in our chest. We've got to take action. Okay, I'm going to do a 1-minute plug next hour. I did like a 5-minute plug. I just kind of condensed it. I apologize. Let me just move on now. I'm just very excited that we're able to continue what we're doing. And I've sent Joe Biggs on a secret mission. He'll start reporting tonight. It is a dangerous mission with Josh Owens and Michael Zimmerman, so pray for them. And I'm not going to announce what they're doing until they're on the ground and are already out of there and they can report from a distance. They're going to be visiting 5 cities in the United States. And I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm going to stop right there. It's important. It's going to be very illustrative of everything that's happening. That'll start tomorrow. And we've got something just as big as that, and this is about as big as it gets, tomorrow as well. But I don't like to count my chickens before they're hatched. I don't count a fish until it's in the boat, gaffed and in the freezer. Well, really until I'm frying it a couple hours later on shore, but until it's in my guts. But that's what winning's all about, taking action, and we're doing it. And let me tell you, fortune favors the bold, providence favors the committed, the bold, the crazed. And I am crazed. I am crazed in the enemy's face. I'm in a fight. I know I'm in danger. I know I've committed my name, my treasure, my family to the fight. And you know what? It feels good. Because now I can just begin to join my forebears that died in the Texas Revolution. I can join my forebears that died in 1776 in the next 6 years. I can join those that came across on the Mayflower. I can join those daring crusaders. I can just begin to approach the level they're at. And it's not through arrogance. It's not through a power trip I want to do that. It's I want to live. I want to be bold. I want to be creative. I want to be strong. I want to live up to the ideals that our founders had and their belief in Christ. And it takes aggressive men to defeat the New World Order. They've taken that from us. I mean, you know how aggressive our forebears were? They'd be running around killing people right now for what's going on. But we're in a new modern war where they want that. We're winning the info war, and we're killing their fake ideas. We're killing their lies. We are stabbing them and bayoneting them and foaming at the mouth. They want to fight. They've got one. They want to go head-to-head. I'm committed. I'm going all the way, and nothing feels more committed. Nothing feels better than not being a coward and being strong. All they can take is your honor. All they can take is your soul. And they take your soul, they take everything. So why would you bow to the enemy through fear? They can take nothing from us. Why would we want to give that to them? There's not even a debate about this. All right, I'm done preaching. I apologize. We're going to come back straight ahead and get into the World Government Conference, the most important in history, in their words, with the greatest assemblage of world leaders.
You don't close your mind, so they shape you.
U.S. carbon emissions down 10% in past decade. You know what that means? 10% of our energy has been cut off as our population went up 34 million people in the last 10 years. It's down 10.2%. Now, they actually cut off more than a third of our coal power, but they allowed General Electric to build hundreds of new plants while shutting off over 1,000 others. I mean, you talk about a military op, that's it. Shut down everybody else, then everybody's going to buy it from you for increased prices. But there's still less power. But they want you to be prosperous, poor people. Obama loves you. How you like that black unemployment doubling? Doesn't matter, though. He had George Soros tell you it's the cops' fault, so just shoot one of them in the back of the head. That'll fix everything, according to them. No, that'll just cause a civil war and the police state to come in, which they'll use to crack down on everybody, just like they let in the radical jihadis in Europe, and now they're taking the conservative group's rights and arresting front-runners in presidential elections like Marie Le Pen. That's hardcore. Wow, that's incredible. It's so over the top, the suspension of logic, the outrageousness of it, the insolence. U.S. carbon emissions down 10% in the past decade. Breitbart, according to EPA, carbon emissions in the U.S. have fallen 10.2%. By the way, China's are up over 30%. Since then, they have to make zero cuts. Oh, I wonder where the jobs will go if their power's about, what, last time I checked, less than 20% the cost of ours. Oh, where would you build something that had power that in many cases is 20, 30, 40% of the cost of a factory? We can't compete with that. No way. And then you add the slave labor and all the rest of it and the internal tariffs of the yuan being kept undervalued. But that's okay. People don't need to know economics, do they? Our government loves this, is why they did that. Obama trip to the UN Global Warming Summit amidst CO2. More CO2 than driving 72 cars for a year. And everyone always points out that that's, terrible hypocrisy. They want the hypocrisy. He walks off jumbo jets and gives a speech on the tarmac saying you can't have cars and air conditioners. That's the whole point. Here's another one. Look at this photo. Warmers dine on fancy cuisine as they plot global redistribution. Obama dined at the Haute Cuisine, that's super fancy, with global leaders at the Global Warming Summit. And again, ladies and gentlemen, now we learn typical Christian conservative who reportedly had sex crime records, was a huge liberal, identified as a woman, was a cross-dresser. Killer Robert Louis Deere was into spanking bondage and smoking pot. Probably a wind-up toy on amnesics. He fits the bill of it being staged. Then they just had their assassins wait, kill a few cops, get out the back door, have him drugged up, not knowing who he is. That's how they run these ops. Sirhan, you name it. Police, I mean, if you're not totally controlled, you got to look into this being a setup. I smell it. I think it is. Probably is. We'll be back. Seriously, my gut's never wrong. There's a video. Liberals propose bringing migrants into the U.S. to house them, but then when they're asked, will you house some, they say no. You see, it's about making you pay. Breaking the law. And that's what they're doing, is they are breaking the law, opening our borders up, and Saudi Arabia, I have it here in the stack, will not take one, this is now 3 months, 4 months running, one refugee. They have trillions of dollars,